It's the return of the Jack, the return of the headband. Let it sink in, the headband's back. Ooh, what a feeling. It was in a box, I moved house, I told you. Finally found it. We are here doing, I don't think anyone's done this yet, Premier League predictions. Is that a thing? Are people doing that? Yeah. A lot of people. Well, I've watched their predictions and quite frankly, they are appalling. It really does look like a lot of people's predictions. They've gone to Sky Bet, looked at the list who's most likely to win it and just copied that and predicted it. So, I think everyone's predicted the same thing. So your boy, who makes the most unique content around, is here with predictions. And they are going to be my own original predictions. Yeah, if I had to put money on these predictions, would I necessarily do it? Maybe not. But I think that's the point. Why show a prediction video if you go, do you know what? I think what will probably happen will happen. Show some cojones, Show some testiculars and say something out there on the limb. Obviously, the other thing I want to say, all my predictions are also things I think could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. So some might sound outlandish, but at the same time, if I get it spot on, I won't be surprised. If you have any issues with my predictions, I'm sure some of you will. There's a lot of creeps who watch my videos. Feel free to comment down below. I'm a sports journalism graduate. I like nothing more than talking football. Let's say I say Newcastle 5th. And you go, Jack, explain yourself. You're going to get a thesis. You're going to get a dissertation level of writing about my opinion. And lastly, I want to say, none of these are in bias. I'm an Everton fan who likes Liverpool a lot, so I haven't got Liverpool predicted first, not because I don't like Liverpool. I'd love it if they won the league again, genuinely. And I've obviously got my big boy Marcello there. My prediction of Leeds is not biased because of that. It's what I genuinely think will happen. Okay, cool. Let's get into predictions. I think Leeds are going to win the fucking league. No, not really. Sad news, people. Man City are winning the Premier League. I don't want it. I think any football purist doesn't want it, but yeah, that is the sad news. Man City are back, baby, and they're going to be back with a bang. I think they're going to piss the league. I hope they don't, but I think their squad's so deep and so strong, you're an idiot to ever really bet against Man City. I can't think of any competition I would, even though they, were pretty appalling by their own standards last season. I still fancy them to walk the league, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not happy with it. Man City to win the league, to have like 85% possession against Burnley, and people somehow say, you know what, Man City are the most entertaining team to watch in the league. They are pish. It's not tiki-taka with flair, it's death by possession. And I am not standing for it anymore. But yeah, City to win the league, pretty standard. Spurs second. I think a lot of people will have that. Third, okay, I'll go back to that Spurs one. I think Spurs are going to come second. And yeah, I've been watching the Jose Mourinho all or nothing thing. And yeah, that might have influenced my decision. I just think Spurs are going to do well. Because for me, and I'll get onto this later, Harry Kane is the best player in the Premier League. I think he's probably the best striker in the world. I absolutely adore him. I think he can do absolutely everything. And I'm backing Harry Kane to have an explosive season. We'll get it out of the way now. I think Harry Kane's going to be top scorer and player of the year. I think, 32 goals or something ridiculous. I really rate him. I really rate Dele Alli. I really rate Bergwijn, who they brought in. I really rate Son Heung-min. Really rate their signings. Højbjerg and Doherty, I think they're just two solid signings. They're not going to set the world on fire, but I think it's exactly what Spurs actually needed. They've looked at positions and gone, let's improve that, without going, who can we spend 100 million on? They've just gone, what do we need? Cool, let's go and get a better one. I think Spurs have done their business well. Is it a big shout? Yeah. A lot of people seem to not even have Spurs in the top 4. I think Spurs are going to come second. Chelsea. I think their signings are really, really good. I think Lampard is still a bit, who really knows what he's like as a manager? It's easily, obviously, the best team he's ever had. I do think Kai Havertz, I love him from the journeyman. I think he will take time to settle. I wouldn't be surprised if by Christmas people write him off completely, but I do think he'll come good. I think Werner will score bucket loads. I think Pulisic looked like one of the most exciting players in the league last season. I think Chelsea will do well. I think they'll finish third. And, one of my predictions, I think the top 4 will actually all be very close to each other. I don't think it's Chelsea third, 20 points behind Man City. I think it will be a close season. I just think maybe Chelsea need a couple more years. Because whilst their signings are good, they're young. Kai Havertz is a proven player, and I think any club in the world would take him, but he is still young. I don't think you're signing a world beater from day one. I think it will take time. Chelsea third. The big live. You're having 4th. Be happy with it. Do I hope it happens? Absolutely not. Out of these top, the teams that can win the league, Liverpool, despite being an Everton fan, are the ones I would like to win it. I think they're really exciting. I think they're fun. I think their fan base is fantastic. So Liverpool fans, please don't send any death threats my way, okay? That's all I ask. I can't take any more from you. I hope they win it. I think they're going to drop off. And I thought the same last year. So I could certainly be wrong. You know, Jurgen Klopp, you fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. I've got them 4th, but I think it's going to be tight. I wouldn't be surprised to see my 2nd, 3rd and 4th really in any kind of order, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, we're going top 4, City, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool. Let's see who gets Europa League. I can already feel the Liverpool fans are fuming. What are you talking about? What are you doing putting us 4th? Are you out of your fucking mind? 5th place, Arsenal. I like him. I like Mikel Arteta. I think everyone did. I know when lockdown first started, discussions with friends, I was like, Arsenal are maybe the biggest mess in world football. Why would anyone want to coach Arsenal? And then Mikel Arteta has just made me look a mug. And they looked phenomenal. You know, I saw a few idiots on the timeline that were like, oh, Arsenal didn't even play good football. They just played defensive and then counter-attacked. Get out your arsehole, okay? Arsenal are back, baby. They're so back, they're going to finish 5th. That's just my prediction. They could come higher. Arsenal's biggest problem is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Is he a fantastic goal scorer? Yes. But he's so bad at every other aspect of football. So bad. His link-up play and everything is just absolutely atrocious. The only thing he can do is work hard and finish. And yeah, that will get you 20, 22 goals a season. But he's not at this elite level. Harry Kane, Roberto Firmino, and people are going to be incensed that I've said that. Their all-round game is so much more. You know, I think teams with them in thrive a lot more than a team with Aubameyang. But you know what? Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe we'll look back on this and go, wow, Aubameyang scored 30 goals, what a season. But I've got Arsenal 5th. I think they've made good transfers. I think everyone agrees with that. And I think I like Arteta. So I'll go with that. 6th place, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Sorry, Man United fans. I know you're going to be very upset. And you're always upset, aren't you, Man United fans? You've always got something to moan about. You lot are absolutely unbelievable when it comes to whinging. I think most people like Wolves. I think they were brilliant last season. Yeah, they brought in Fabio Silva and again a few unproven Portuguese players. I don't think the signings they made are the sort to shoot them up. What I'm basing this on is that they were really good last year and played about 500 games of football with the Europa League. This year, no European run. I think that could really help them. I don't think it's going to help them enough to get them into the top 4, but I think they'll solidify that kind of 6th spot, and maybe next summer they'll start bringing in some major big signings, the sort that do push you up, the sorts that are linked with, you know, the moves to Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, rather than kind of the best of the rest signings, which we've seen from other clubs. But we'll get onto that. Man United, you are 7th, so are you happy with that? I'm going to guess not from the death threats you're sending me. Please, Manchester United fans, go and send death threats to Ed Woodward instead. It'll be a lot easier and you'll enjoy it a lot more. I think United are good, and I think I probably am underrating them. And if we come back to this and we go Man United finish 2nd, I won't be like, you know, YouTuber thumbnail. My predictions, I'll be like, okay, you know, that seems fair. I understand that. They've got a fantastic attack. They've got a very good midfield. I just think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a really shit manager. Really bad. I think his track record's awful. You know, not in a way of like, oh, what have Lampard and Arteta ever won? Arteta is a bit different, I guess, because he has won things. But he's looked very good in the short spell of time. And Lampard, I think, looked really good at Chelsea and really good at Derby. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been kind of crap everywhere he's ever been. I know he did well in Norway, but that's like saying I did well at, you know, bowling, so let's play snooker. It's irrelevant. It's Norway. Who cares? If you're watching this from Norway, please subscribe. I love Scandinavia. But yeah, I just don't rate Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at all as a manager. Wouldn't be surprised to see him let him go. If they got rid of him and brought in, you know, a Pochettino and Allegri, I'd probably put them higher. But I am basing this on the fact they've probably got the worst manager in the entire division. That's your top 7. We'll start going a little bit quicker now because, I mean, this is the rest. Who really cares about the rest? In 8th, we've got Everton. Hey, I'm an Everton fan, so I'm sure a few people watching this went, come on the Toffees, like James Rodriguez does. The signings are good on paper. Alan is apparently, from Napoli fans, a little bit past it. James Rodriguez, I don't think anyone knows what we're going to get from James Rodriguez. If at the end of the season he's got 15 goals and 10 assists, no one will be shocked. If he gets 2 goals and 4 assists, I don't think anyone will be that shocked. It's a very exciting signing, and I think Everton fans should be excited. As an Everton fan, it's the most excited I've been to watch us for like 6-7 years now. But it really could go either way. And Decore, I love him. I think he's probably the best signing of the three. I hope Everton do well. I think 8th is fair. And 9th, another club pretty close to my heart, Southampton. I was really impressed with them. I think they've got a brilliant manager in Hasenhüttl. The two signings they've made, Salisu and Kyle Walker-Peters. I mean, Walker-Peters is fine. He's a good Premier League level. Salisu, I'd be lying if I said I ever watched him play. But from hearing people that know a lot about football, they think it's a great signing. And I just will steal their opinions and say it's the signing of the summer. And I think Southampton are going to have a very good year, finish 9th, and then their manager will get stolen, and then next year they'll finish 17th. Because that's the Southampton way. Who will steal Ralph Hasenhüttl? Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 10th place, Leicester. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it seems harsh, but Brendan Rodgers has got a bit of a syndrome, not in that way, in that he does really well because he's got a very upbeat, happy personality. I imagine players love playing for him, and then when it starts to go a bit wrong, it usually goes very wrong, doesn't it, Brendan? I'm sure you'll be the first to admit. I think Leicester were very unlucky with injuries at the tail end of last season. Just looking at it, you can go, my God, they bottled that, they collapsed. Their whole system is based on possession and width, and they lost both their fullbacks. So, I mean, when they've lost their fullbacks, they've got absolutely nothing to go off. So, at that point, I mean, what can you do? You're just narrowly going through the middle, which they did, to absolutely no success. So, again, if they came sick, would I be that shocked? No, not really. They're just predictions, they're just a laugh. But I've got them in 10th here. And in 11th, one of the most influential managers of all time. One of the greatest managers. I'm so glad to see him in the Premier League. Steve Bruce's Newcastle. I've got Steve Bruce's Newcastle in 11th. Their transfer business is maybe the best out of the entire division. They have signed Premier League proven players. And you'll say that they've raided championship teams like Bournemouth, Norwich. The players they've signed, though, were the best at those teams that could go up a level. And Newcastle have brought in a whole crop of them, which is, pretty incredible business. I fancy Newcastle to have a good year. I fancy their fans to embarrass themselves by talking about Saudi Arabian owners and putting Saudi Arabian flags in their names. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic, Newcastle fans. That takeover not happening is the best thing in Premier League history. You should be absolutely delighted. And if you want to say Mike Ashley's a bad person, I don't think he's ever murdered anyone. Could certainly be wrong because he has a shady character, that Mike Ashley. But yeah, I've got Newcastle in 11th. I like him a lot. St Maximin, what is there to say? Probably the most exciting player to watch in the league. Almiron, I think, is up there as well. A real good player to watch. And as I say, I really rate the signings they've made. So we've got Newcastle in 11th. Bielsa, you're just behind. Bielsa is sandwiched between Steve Bruce and David Moyes. And I would definitely pay £15 on Brazzers to watch that film. Leeds are in 12th. I watched them 8 or 9 times last season. I feel like every time I watched them, they lost. Like, I was a bit of a curse to Leeds. They'd always play well and batter the opposition, but somehow lose. I think they'll come 12th. I'm not going to sit here and say, Bielsa teams burn out and all that, because I really think you don't know what you're going to get. Leeds, as a club, are a bit like James Rodriguez as a player. In that if Leeds come 7th, I don't think anyone will be like, oh my God, we didn't see that come in. If Leeds come 18th, I don't think anyone will be like, what is going on? I think that whole middle ground of the Prem, everyone's pretty decent, but also everyone can be pretty shit. So who knows where we'll go, but we've got Leeds in 12th, West Ham in 13th, with the bravado that they keep little Declan Rice. I absolutely adore Declan Rice. I think he's fantastic. If they lose Declan Rice to Chelsea, because obviously the transfer window isn't shut, I think they're in trouble. If they can keep hold of beautiful little Irish, he's English, isn't he? Shit. English Declan Rice, I think they'll be alright. So we've got West Ham in 13th. Now, we're coming to the business end. The danger zone! Bow, 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 bow. 14th, I've gone with Aston Villa. Now, their manager, Dean Smith. If you went to a Brantano's or a shoe zone to buy school shoes, and Dean Smith came over and said, what size do you need? You wouldn't bat an eyelid, would you? You wouldn't go, you're Aston Villa manager, Dean Smith. Dean, nobody knows who you are, and I've got you as the first manager to be sacked. I think Villa, their signings are very good. Ollie Watkins, people go 30 million for a championship striker. If he keeps him up, he's made him like 200 million. And I think in Watkins, and especially Grealish, who I'd probably say is in the top 20 players in the league. I love Jack Grealish. I think they've got enough to stay up. I think Dean Smith maybe gets sacked in the first 5 or 10 games. I think they only didn't sack him because of COVID and everything like that. I was very surprised they didn't let him go. I think he gets sacked in the first 10 or so games. They bring in Eddie Howe. And the Villa stay up, and the Villa have a big laugh. That's them in 14th. In 15th, Burnley. I will never, ever, ever bet on Burnley to go down while Sean Dyche is in charge. I just think you're playing a dangerous game in terms of your prediction and in terms of making sure your nose doesn't get broken or anything like that, because he's a terrifying man. He's absolutely haunting. But yeah, Burnley, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be glamorous. This is certainly a Leon top, not a Burnley top. I'm not a fan of Burnley. You've got to do what you've got to do to stay up in this world. Certain clubs, like 16th place for me, Brighton, said, oh, do you know what? Staying up every year isn't enough. They sacked Chris Hughton, everyone was upset. But it's like, you don't. If you're going to the game every week, you don't want to be hoping for a 1-0. You want to play a bit of nice football. And there'll be definitely some people in the comments that say the result is the only thing that matters. I think you're a lunatic. It's like going to see in a film and being like, the only thing that matters is it starts and ends. You want to be entertained. You want to actually enjoy yourself. I think Brighton made the right decision getting rid of Chris Hughton and trusting Graham Potter. I think they've already given him like a 6-year deal, and I think he'll keep them up. Basuma, their midfielder, one of my shouts for the season. I think he's absolute quality. So Burnley 15th, Brighton 16th. So who's going down? Sheffield United are not going down. I've got Sheffield United in 16th. I think a lot of people think, they will struggle more this year, and Chris Wilder, I think, will keep him up and probably go on to pastures new, unless Sheffield United invest a lot. I think they've made a few signings in the last few days, Ethan Ampadu, and I think they've got enough to stay up, mostly because of Chris Wilder. I think he's a fantastic manager. I think you're a bit of a lunatic if you don't think he's a good manager with his track record, and I think he keeps them up. I don't think it's the roses of last season. I think there will be tough times, but Chris, I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you, Chris. Keep them up. I've got them in 17th. Crystal Palace fans, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that for 3 or 4 years now you've had a team of championship players carried by one man, Wilfred Zaha. And yes, they've brought in another player in Eze, who's meant to be very good from QPR. I'd be lying if I said I saw him play much. He looks pretty cool from the videos I have seen. And again, Crystal Palace could prove me wrong and finish 12th. I wouldn't be shocked. Batshuayi is a good sign. Maybe I don't think Crystal Palace will go down. Well, I've put it there now. Crystal Palace are going down. But I also kind of think that Sheffield United will go down instead of Crystal Palace. Can we lock them? Let's lock 17th and 18th. Wow, what a buzzkill this is. I'm refusing to make a decision. I'm putting my foot down. I will not be putting a third team to get relegated. I think somehow Sheffield United and Crystal Palace stay up. It's my prediction. You can't say it's wrong because it's just a prediction. I think only 2 teams go down, Fulham and West Brom. Why? Because they're both utter toss. I was so upset when West Brom came up. There is nothing more boring than when West Brom come up for 1 year and piss off again. It's such a waste. So I've got West Brom to finish absolute rock bottom, and then 19th I've got Fulham. I'm not too sure about them. The problem is their style of football is fantastic for the Championship. They're the dominant side there. They play the passing game. So they build the team around that. And this is exactly what happened a few years ago. They come up, play that style of football, which is fine, but you've got to stick with it and give it time to work and time to adapt against the big clubs. They'll do it for like 10 games. They'll sack Scott Parker. They'll bring in, Sam Allardyce, Claudio Ranieri, one of that lot. Alan Pardy, who will play boring, dull football, but the players that Fulham got can't play that style of football. So it's not that easy. It's not that transferable. And I think it may be like a football thesis. This 5 or 10 years ago, the bottom clubs were just filled with mediocre, hard-working, ruggedy British players. So if you could go from a Sam Allardyce to an expansive manager back to a Sam Allardyce with nothing lost. Whereas now these lower clubs are filled with foreign, good, technically gifted players. So when Sam Allardyce comes in and says, let's just play hoofball, the players will turn around and be like, I'm not actually very good at that because I grew up in Amsterdam playing proper football. Proper British football! So yeah, I think Fulham will sack Scott Parker pretty quickly, replace him with someone who will do bad, and Fulham and West Brom will go down. So here are the predictions. Let's just go through them. City, Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, Wolves, Man United, Everton, Southampton, Leicester, amount of fingers, Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham, Aston Villa, Burnley, Brighton, Sheffield United and Crystal Palace, Fulham and West Brom. And then in terms of the individual things, we've got Harry Kane, as I say, as top scorer and PFA Player of the Year, mostly because his fantastic team talks from the All or Nothing show. Let's fucking get him, lads! Every time he does it, and every time it makes me smile. But I think he's fantastic. Young player of the year, I'm going Pulisic. Thanks a lot, Jack. That's probably how he sounds, isn't it? Best newcomer, I'm going Werner. I think he'll score bucket loads of goals. Surprise team of the season, I guess it would be Spurs if they finish second. Surprise player of the season, I'm going Callum Wilson from Newcastle. I think he'll get sort of 20 league goals. I think he'll have a very good year. FA Cup winner, bad news, it's Man City again. Champions League winner, even worse news, it's PSG. You know, ethically, I'm appalled at my predictions. Europa League winner, AC Milan. I think they're in there. I think they ended the season very strong. Rafael Leao, Ibrahimovic, they've got a good strike pairing. I think they'll do well. Carling Cup winner, it's Everton, baby. Up the Everton. What a year we're going to have. James Rodriguez, 30 goals. Who cares? And first manager sacked, Dean Smith. If you agree, if you disagree with any of my predictions, let me know down below or on Twitter at FifaFella. Always happy to have a conversation about any of this. Please don't sound nasty on me. Okay, you're my friends, you're my colleagues. Don't want you to stop bullying me in the comments, calling me an idiot, getting very aggressive. There's just no need, okay? It's just predictions. Let me know what you think. As I say, we'll look back on this at the end of the season, and I'm sure we'll all laugh. Thank you so much for watching. House tour video is coming soon. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I'm recording this. Let's have a look. The world clock. Jesus, there's so many lights. 11:07 on the Saturday. So if Arsenal win 5-0 by the time this is uploaded and Aubameyang scores 5, I'm going to look like a bit of a dickhead. But I'll try and get this out. It definitely won't be out before that game, will it? I'll get this out as soon as possible. I'll probably cut that bit out. I'll leave it in now. I've spoke about it. Follow me on Twitter. Comment down below. House tour coming next week, next Saturday, I imagine. Arrivederci. Love to you all.